entry is not permitted.
It is 6 p.m. What are they doing in that bell tower? So good morning. We're in Berlin. We arrived. Yes. We arrived last night and wandered around for a little bit, but we're very, very tired because, well, I didn't sleep on the plane, but also because it was, I don't know, hours. It was like we arrived at what was effectively like, what, 3 a.m. for us?
We had a very, very funny border guard who welcomed us to the EU in Switzerland. And we sort of like walked up, and she's like, all right, what's the first thing that you should do? And it has something to do with the fact that I can't hear you very well. And Graham looked at her just gobsmacked. But I, who had had 2 or 3 hours of sleep on the plane, was able to figure out that she meant remove your mask.
The question was, what she said was, what's the first thing I'm going to ask you? And I'm like, this is a trick. So I didn't give a definitive response on purpose. I was like, I'm not sure.
I immediately snapped into adventure game mode. I was like, a puzzle! Yes!
I thought she was trying to get us.
Yeah.
Again, because I was tired.
Vlogging got slightly derailed because I realized we had stopped behind somebody who was wearing a Loading Ready Run t-shirt, and I like physically moved Graham's tripod. I was like, turn your camera around, because I don't think he noticed because he was focused on doing that.
Yeah, I didn't notice at all. They were wearing a Bike Club t-shirt and had walked past us and seemingly either didn't notice or politely avoided saying hello to us,
And
which is fine.
We thought, oh, that's probably the German way, is to politely avoid harassing someone that you recognize, so we also did not say anything.
So if you're watching this, sorry, but you've got great style.
Yeah, loved your hair,
Yeah.
loved the blue.
That was wonderful. That was just very, I just short-circuited. I was like, I don't know what to do with the situation.
Yeah. I don't know. I figure Germans are the type who are going to politely ignore you. I love that. As a Canadian, I also want to politely ignore someone, so...
I'm happy for people to say hello to me.
Well, I can come up and nod. I don't know. Canadians are super reserved internationally.
Yeah. we've said this before. Canadians are very polite.
Yep, super polite.
So Australians are friendly. Australians are outgoing. They'll cross the street if you look like you don't know where you're supposed to be going.
Japanese people are more friendly and outgoing to people who don't look like they know where they're going than Canadian people.
Yeah, a Canadian will be very, very friendly and helpful.
If you ask.
If you ask.
They'll never come up to
They'll
you.
be like, please don't talk to me, please don't talk to me, please don't talk to me. Hi, yeah, what's up? How can I help you?
I think Serge is the exception there, but Serge is an outlier and should not be counted.
Serge, yeah, that's often the case. Speaking of Serge, we've already stopped for coffee this morning. And I say this morning, we got up at noon. Because we variously also woke up in the night.
Yeah, in Graham's defense, he slept 0 hours on the plane. And in my defense, we went to bed at 9 p.m. I slept until midnight. My body was like, psst, it's 3 in the afternoon. And I stayed up for 5 hours, honestly having a very productive time. It was pleasant. And then I thought, oh, geez, it's almost 5 a.m. I should go and get a couple of hours of sleep before Graham wakes up. And then Graham, neither of us woke up till 10. And I poked him and said, do you want to get out of bed? And he went, no. And then we slept in another 2 hours. And so I'm also well rested.
We've passed several parks so far that have had ping pong tables. Just table tennis tables, like made of like metal and or concrete, like rooted to the ground. So you just bring your own paddles and balls. And that seems great. That's not something I was aware of previously.
There's a lot of people using them. It's nice.
Currently just trying to figure out where to buy bus or transit tickets. Aha! There is something up on the platform. And then we have to validate the tickets in the little punch machine. I love the old station. That's so cool. Unbeknownst to us, when we planned this trip, it was the middle of the Euros Cup, so there's a bunch of football fans as well wandering around in their uniforms, which is fine. They're super chill, but there's a lot of them. So our friend Map, who's been a Desert Bus volunteer for many years,
Love Map.
Map's great. Map lives in Berlin, and comically is away on his own vacation the entire time that we're here. But we asked him for some recommendations, and specifically, Kathleen was interested in looking at old buildings, which is a fine thing to want to look at.
I like old buildings. I'm very dull.
And so Map was like, well, then you probably want to go to the cathedral, and the word that I can't quite pronounce, but basically translates to Museum Island, which is an island where Berlin has cordoned all their most famous museums, so they can't escape. And we're there now, and yes, it is. It's paying out in that regard, as witnessed here.
So I will say that as a product of colonial culture, almost any building to me counts as old. We're in East Berlin, and I was walking around looking at all the apartments going, wow, so old, so beautiful, so historic. And I know that actual Europeans are like, uh-huh, okay. But to me, anything with history is interesting. So
I hope one day to see a famous cathedral that is not covered in scaffolding. But that has not been our recent European experience.
I would argue
We're 3 on 3.
we've seen a lot of famous Japanese old buildings that have also been under reconstruction.
That's true.
But that's how they keep the old buildings around.
That's true. Actually, Salisbury Cathedral didn't have
That's true.
active construction. Only Sagrada and Notre Dame, and now Berlin. That's the third wedding. That's the third bride that's just arrived to take photos here.
It's a pretty spectacular
It's
place.
pretty great, yeah. I just love that they're all. It's what is it? It's Thursday, Friday. Kathleen, look.
What? It's a World Heritage Site.
Someone told me I wasn't allowed to take video. Like a security guy was like, "Oh no, you can't. You can. Photos are okay, but you can't camera," which I think is the international sign for a film camera. But there's, like I said, there's multiple weddings around here. I think my tripod looks too good. That guy's got a gimbal. Oh, this is very exciting. Tiny model of the island. Excellent. We are here, right by the Lustgarten. Giant Kathleen. One presumes Lust as a prefix means something different in German, but we're currently in the Lustgarten. Ooh, wow.
Whoa, this is the front of the cathedral.
So we're in Berlin for nearly a week, which is kind of amazing. We've never been here before, always wanted to, honestly. And we're here to film some stuff with Card Market, but we extended our stay by an extra day because we decided we didn't want to be fighting jet lag, as we're presently doing on the same day that we're trying to be funny making internet videos about playing Magic the Gathering, which I would not have been up to doing today. And so instead, we have an extra day. Well, I say day. Again, we did wake up at noon, but we have an extra day in Berlin to do things and see things. And I brought a tripod this time, and I'm very excited about that, as you can tell, which apparently has made me look professional enough to ask me to take a photo, and too professional to film video near the gallery. What building was that?
There's a little model that explains it.
There is a little model. So, yeah, this is great. And, as it happens, this whole island, again, where they've put all the museums, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So, lucked into that. You know, I didn't, much to my dismay, now that I think about it, I did not look up in advance if we were going to be near any UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
We've been busy.
Yeah. Turns out, this is one. So, haha. Here, I'll show you what I'm rocking with. It's this. It's really it's a monopod. Like, it's actually just a monopod, but it's got little feet that you can extend to get shots that are actually don't move, which is what I'm trying to do. But I am incredibly self-conscious about carrying this thing around. I was briefly very excited because I saw someone else with a tripod with little feet, but it turns out that's for a microphone, and they're buskers. Wait, no, she has a tripod. We're okay. I'm not the only one. Viewers, I don't need to tell you what a big fan I am of Dance Dance Revolution, and so that's why we're going to check out the DDR Museum. That's not what this is, but we are checking this out. They have, in the museum, they have a Trabant 601, the car, hooked up with a 3D rendering of East Berlin for you to, I guess, drive through and try to make it to a checkpoint. It's very impressive how they're displaying it on the windscreen. We ran out of fuel. bunch of replica rooms here, such as this, which is a Stasi surveillance post. I was hoping that there'd be some sort of noise that might play on the phone. Cool, you can just listen to people's houses. It's been humid all day, and now the humidity has reached 100 and is actually just raining, which is honestly a big improvement for me. As you can see, oh God, as you can see, I've been sweaty because it's so hot. But yeah, in case you didn't pick up on that, the DDR Museum is a museum about the DDR, which is the Deutsche Democratic Republic, or as it would be in English, the German Democratic Republic, or as we were taught, East Germany, because shockingly, East Germany did not call themselves East Germany.
This was the one place I wanted to go.
That was great. It was fascinating. I learned a lot.
That was my museum of choice. For reasons which maybe will become public one day.
Boy, I hope I know what she's talking about. So it started raining very, very hard.
A lot.
Like there's a thunderstorm. So we're doing the most German thing imaginable, eating poke bowls on a swing. You can just see the thing. Our seat is a swing. It's odd but wonderful, and it's also delicious. Found our way into an alley that's just full of art. Graffiti and stickers and sculpture stuck to the walls. It's amazing. It's very, very cool. Yeah, there's no part of anything that is not covered with stickers and graffiti. So we went in that building all the way up to the second and third floor, both of which had independent screen printing shops. We couldn't film any of it because they had millions of signs saying, please do not take photos, and so we didn't, but it was great, and it looked very much like this place. It's absolutely covered in stickers everywhere, and both the shops were lovely, and we bought a print that we can't show you because it was packaged well.
It's basically, if you had to be like, hey, I need to design a tourism destination to park Kathleen from her money, that was it. That was laser focused. You couldn't take photos there. You could only buy cool things.
I want to know the story of Berlin's little crosswalk man and what he's carrying.
Is that a briefcase, maybe?
Why would you hold a briefcase laterally? Maybe you're in a real big rush.
Maybe.
Just walking around Berlin and seeing all these tiny little parks and everything. It's amazing that the city went through everything it did and managed to come out the other side of it with the apparent appearance of excellent civic planning. Because I feel like for a couple years there can't have been, but they've recovered tremendously.
Mm-hmm. Some of the stuff that happened was like 80 years ago. That's a long time. History just keeps happening.
We found a tiny coffee shop. Not that tiny. We found a coffee shop to have coffee and wine, actually. They do wine as well. So it's cool. It's in the middle of all the houses, all the apartment blocks here they're like basically right up against the sidewalk, but then they have an internal courtyard, and this seems to have doors out to both the courtyards. So we might go for a snoop when we're done our drinks. We bought a day pass for the transit and then decided we were going to walk. We decided that we'd walk back.
This is the Kathleen way. I love walking. I want to walk everywhere. This is the perfect way to see a city. Also, I didn't realize that place was closing, and I uncharacteristically for me got a glass of wine, and then because it was closing I had to drink it quickly, so now I really need to walk.
So even when I don't fully deploy the tripod, I think having it attached to the camera does make these shots a little more stable, because it's just adding some more weight and balance around the fulcrum of my hand, which is nice. Kathleen did just wang her hand on it.
But that's not necessarily a tripod problem. I think that's just a Kathleen problem.
Kathleen sometimes has difficulty knowing where the edges of her end and the other parts of matter begin.
It's fine. It's a thing that I have dealt with my whole life, is that I have, we'll say, randomized boundaries, and I'm going to use it.
Yeah. We passed a park with a big tower in the middle of it. We don't know what it is, but we can go there, so we're going there. That tower is actually much smaller than I thought it was, because those windows are tiny. I thought those windows were like huge, full-size windows, but they're actually very small, and that tower is not that big. That one's pretty big though.